Welcome folks, my name is Aubrey Melville. This is the simple solution to a very, very complicated and complex issue of addiction to alcohol, drugs and gambling. The question that is unanswered by a lot of people, for a lot of people, is what happens to you when you're born into addiction. As a child, you're born into that environment. How does an infant cope with life in life's terms when it's in that environment and when it's the main member of the family who's in addiction? So these are some of the issues that cropped up with our next guest, and that man is Anthony. So I'll introduce you to Anthony, and we'll plod into it right away. We'll go right into it to the very beginning, Anthony, to get the story and get the story properly, and don't want to go too deep, but you've came a long way in your early days. So just give us a brief of your early days in infancy in your home and your background, bringing you up to your teenage.
Obviously, I grew up in a family that had addiction. It had a massive effect on me personally, as in regards to just trying to understand, why everything was upside down in my house, and I never could. I suppose at about the age of 14 was when I started, to smoke a bit of hash and stuff like that. And from there on, I suppose I was lost, but I knew at that stage that I had a dependency,
Yeah, but before you got to that stage at 14, from your birth to 14, the environment in which you lived in wasn't the healthiest. Is that fair to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Horrendous.
It was horrendous. It was very traumatizing, very confusing. Had a massive impact on, me as in going to school, education, communication, all them different things, I lacked in. I was very uncontrollable, and it was just, I was lost. I was a lost young lad.
Yeah. But in that, you said it was horrendous. There was a lot of fear.
There was, yeah.
A lot. I mean, you grew up in fear.
I did. But I was trying to understand what fear was at that young age. Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my friends and they're normal. And I think at that stage I felt abnormal,
Yeah.
and there was something missing. I suppose some of the things that I would have witnessed in through addiction and looking at it, it did have an effect on me, a massive effect. And it was very hard to grow as a man as I got older.
Yeah.
It was very hard to develop myself. It was very, very difficult. A lot of bad memories, a lot of bad memories.
Yeah. So basically you're talking about as a child growing up into the times of 14, many traumatic events happened in your life. And really, them years shaped your later years.
Yeah.
And at that point, when you pick up your first joint, that gives you the sense of relief and comfort. And even at that, you're still dealing with the mayhem.
Yeah, but it was at that stage, I was sitting around with a bunch of other lads, and when I smoked it, I was a completely different lad than the boys who were actually enjoying it. And at that stage as well, I looked back and I was trying to say to myself, like, why, how can they enjoy it and I can't? And I think that's where, the addiction side of it too. But I would have been very, very nervous lad as well.
Yeah.
And when I smoked that, it just amped it up by 100,
Right.
But it wasn't escapism,
Yeah.
I tried many forms of escapism as a child. You know, there was times there I didn't want to come home. There was times I'd lost a full year of school. You know, yeah, just it was very traumatic on a daily basis. Not to know what you were going home to.
Yeah.
Or what was going to happen at night.
Yeah. I can understand that myself.
What was going to come through the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of times it wasn't nice.
No.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
That's your words, it was horrendous.
It was horrendous.
But that violence or that violent atmosphere as a child growing up has a detrimental effect on your future years, because they reckon your first 7 years of a child's life is going to take it through the rest of its life.
Yeah, it's vital.
So you're from the word go, you've been affected badly. So you get to 14, you have your first joint, and then that takes you into a different world completely, because you, if I can remember right, you said that your father took you out of school away from your mum.
Yeah, when he got out of prison, he came down, he took me out of secondary school, and he just basically took control of me, and he did give me a trade, you know, which I'm very grateful for today. I was 15 when I started painting with him. I kind of went okay, and sort of not okay, and not okay. You know, it was up and down, and there was a lot of relapses with himself in that time. We lived in about 14 different houses in a year. I mean, it was just chaotic, like it really was, and it got to the point then where I was actually trying to look out for my father.
Yeah, because at that point, in that period of your life, you were starting to find out who your father was and what your father was, and his instincts, his survival instincts, and the way he conducted his life, and how that affected you, and you were at the brunt of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, like, I mean, I did have a choice to walk away. I could have at any moment, but there was something in me that, you know, I didn't want to leave him, but I also wanted to be there for my mum as well at the same time. So I was running from house to house, and he'd be saying, I'm going to kill myself, and you know, this is going to happen, and you know, and it was a bit of reverse psychology as well, if you ask me.
It was emotional blackmail.
It was emotional blackmail completely.
Yeah, I mean, he's telling a 15, 16-year-old boy that he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's an entanglement of your thinking and your loyalties. And most kids, male and female, when a breakup in the family structure is, the kids are divided. Do you know what I mean? And it's a loyalty thing. But you ended up in something a wee bit more difficult and dangerous, the type of lifestyle the man was leading. But you spoke about this before, and you got to see who he was and what he was, and the violence behind him. But that picture that you were experiencing at that time was answered later on in your life, and we'll go into that later on. But what you got to see was this guy, how he lived, how he behaved, how he entered other people's lives, and whatever way it was he done, but where all that came from. And you learned that later on, and that gave you a chance to reflect back. But it wasn't nice, and it wasn't nice for you, it wasn't nice for your mum and your other family members.
No. And as the years got on, it only got worse.
Yeah.
The violence got worse.
Yeah.
I was tested on a daily basis. I mean, I went from 18 stone to 10.
Yeah.
Over a period of a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know.
But that was all because of the nature of the lifestyle.
It was yeah.
Right.
Probably for the third time, it was chaotic.
Yeah. And all that stress, anxiety, and the pressure. But you were actually seeing violence to a level that you'd never seen before.
No, but I also had to sit and be in that.
Yeah.
in that environment of violence.
Yeah.
And there was times where I was put into positions of violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have any say.
Yeah. Well, you see there, you're saying you had a choice to walk away, but and then in another sentence you're saying, I couldn't walk away. Do you know what I mean? So you were controlled basically.
Yeah, and it was a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was controlled to the point where I didn't want to lose my father,
Yeah.
you know. But at the same time, I knew one day it was going to come.
Yeah. And at that time came when he confronted you, and you were a bit older at that time.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out well for him.
No, it didn't, but, you know, it affected me badly what happened. I mean, I didn't draw first, he did. And I suppose the aggression from child to, I was 19.
Yeah.
I just, put him out.
You see, all of this, because this is a family disease, right? Even though we're talking about your experience, strength and hope here, and we're talking about your life, but there's a bigger picture here. And this is what those who do not understand the disease of addiction, they don't understand that the power of choice is taken away from people like the alcoholic, drug addict or gambler. But your mother, all the way through all of your issues, she's actually taken that journey as well, whether she likes it or no. Her mental health deteriorates through that process, and your other family members. And that's where the loyalty thing, I mean, you're talking about losing 8 stone during that period of time. That's because of the particular situations that you found yourself in. How did you get out of that, by the way? How did you... I know how you got out. Can you explain how this all ended for you in that period of your life? How did that end for you?
As in...
Your dad?
Would have been around 2014.
Yeah.
It was the 5th of October at 2:20 in the day it was. I actually went down to St. Columba's, our local psychiatric unit, and I walked in through the doors with my uncle, and I asked to speak to a psychiatrist straight away, and I got speaking to this man anyway, and I said, you need to take my father in. And he said, he's an appointment Monday. I said, my dad won't be here Monday. He goes, well, he has an appointment Monday. We can't shackle him. We can't do this. We can't do that. And I walked out that door hopeless, because I knew it deep inside, you know, with him after losing his brother, you know, that put him over the edge completely. And when I walked out of that place, I felt alone on this world. I felt like I've tried everything. I know what's going to happen. And there's no help.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that I went out and I took my drink. I actually went to the Garavogue bar. I actually took a phone call off my father about 5:30 that day. I logged it in a different place as well, you know, for them to know that he was severely ill, and these people already knew that about him, but I won't say no more on that topic, you know.
Yeah.
But I got a phone call about 5:20, and he's like, I don't want to win, son, I don't want to win. I'm like, I give up.
Yeah. Well, I know exactly what you're talking about there, because I was asked to intervene a couple of weeks before that. And sadly, your dad passed away because of the circumstances that were surrounding him. And when he had done it on numerous occasions. Suicidal ideation is one thing, thinking about it is one thing, but when you actually start the process of taking other substances to make it happen, or to do other things to make it happen, it's a different case. and it showed me that your dad was on the edge anyway.
Yeah, but I do strongly say this, and I will continue until the day I die to say this, that the people that were looking at my father, I could see it. But
Anybody could see it.
professionals, so-called professionals, couldn't see it.
Well, I don't know necessarily if that's true, but what I do know is the professional people have guidelines, and my experience over the years that I've been in recovery myself, I have taken a good number of people for psychiatric assessments, similar situations to your dad, and you can wait long enough to get them assessed, and then they'll come out and they'll say, he doesn't fit the criteria of somebody with a mental health issue. Yeah. This guy's talking about killing himself. Yeah. I'm not saying your dad, I'm talking about the individuals. I'm speaking hypothetically here with people that have actually, people that are talking about taking their own life, so they're suicidal, but they're also homicidal. And these people make a decision that they're they don't fit that criteria to get the psychiatric treatment. And I think that's where the gap is. Exactly. In mental health. And this is what Social Ground Force is trying to put forward here. There is a major gap between mental health and a normal, let's say a normal mental health issue in an individual's life is different from the mental health issues caused by addiction to mind-altering substances. Yeah. Their life is totally different. You use the word chaos, which is that. It's not just chaos, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, there's evil attached to it in their head. And so there's got to be something there where these people can go and they can get dealt with, because psychiatric wards and HSE units, A&Es, aren't the place for drunks and drug addicts. No. Definitely no. Now we're going to come on to this, we're going to touch on this in your the next stage of this is, your dad passed away and you start drinking, you start heavily drinking, and you start getting involved in other stuff, and you end up drinking and taking other substances. So, and you end up in night shelter. So can we jump from one to the other?
Yeah. I suppose, as I said to you, it was the 5th of October. That was the first time that I did take that drink. And it was a very strange night for me, you know. It was something, I felt very off, something was wrong, you know. And I remember I was standing outside Roberto's and I seen an ambulance pass by me.
That's a chip shop.
Yeah, but two lads come into me, or actually approached me when I was sitting at the bar, and I was zoned. I was looking straight ahead. And they were just two weird individuals. And they stood around me until I got down just past Roberto's, and they just disappeared. And I walked over the road, and it was the quietest walk of my life. You know, there wasn't a care, nor a bird, nothing. And I knew at that stage that he was gone. I just said I'd put that in there, Aubrey.
Yeah. So that was another traumatic time. You were expecting that.
I knew when my mother put on the stairs. I already knew.
Yeah. So that was a traumatic event for you, and it's from there on because you say that's the first time you started drinking, 2014, but then you went into the depths of alcoholism. Yeah. And alcoholism took you to places you should never have been, doing things you should never have done. Yeah. But you'd already tasted that anyway, but you never tasted the actual substance itself in that manner.
No.
Right. So where does that lead you then?
It led me just to every day, you know, my problems were solved, you know, and at that stage, I wasn't really fully sure that I was an alcoholic. I was actually in denial. Yeah. That I was an alcoholic, you know. And it just exceeded.
Well, alcohol was solving a problem for you.
It was, it was filling that gap. Yeah. That was never filled. Yeah. You know, and it just took away all my problems. For 24 hours. Yeah. Till you woke up the next morning.
Yeah. Right.
countless seizures from alcohol withdrawal. Um, ended
You
up,
ended up in the back of an ambulance,
yeah, I was,
and you were gone,
yeah,
and you had to be brought back again.
yeah, only for me sister Angie, you know, I can't thank her enough, and the two ambulance drivers that night, and my dog Pablo, by the way, believe it or not, because I didn't tell anyone, I just took what I had to take. That was after the altercation with my father, and my hair stopped, um, and the ambulance got there in time and got me rushed into it, and I was dead in the back of that ambulance for 3 minutes until I got the adrenaline into the heart. And I to this day I can still remember my sister screaming, but I could feel myself just drifting away.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't your time for sure.
No,
No, definitely. There's a
no,
few other things you have to experience before that
yeah,
happens. So you go by all that, and you end up family issues, relationship issues,
yeah,
and you end up with a wee boy of your own.
yeah.
And
Which
so
I am
rather than
blessed to
going
have.
deep into the
Yeah,
relationships there, you've got something to fight for, you've got something to look forward to, but you still can't kick off addiction. It's got such a hold on you.
yeah. Of course, at that time, yeah, yeah. Because I think, you know, there was a lot going on, you know, at that time, you know, with myself and not understanding. And I do fully believe as well that if you're not, you know, if you don't feel love from your father at a very young age, it's very hard to be this, you know, great dad.
Yeah,
You can only try so hard to be, you know, the
yeah,
person that you are.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it did have a profound effect on me, but I just didn't know what way to approach it to get out of it,
yeah,
you know. And there was a lot of different things going on at that stage as well in my life, you know, that probably had me progressing it, you know.
yeah. So the last 3 years, or the last 4 years of whatever of your addictive behaviour, took you into. You were in homelessness and you ended up in night shelters.
Yeah, I was in a night shelter in 2022. I got out of treatment actually in Kilmare. I lasted 2 weeks in my mum's house and that was it. Relapsed straight away.
Right. Well, without naming the night shelters,
No, I will not.
you ended up in there because you relapsed fairly quickly, which a lot of people do, by
Yeah.
the way. A lot of people, and the reason a lot of people relapse for the disease of addiction is when they're getting the help, they're supposed to be getting the help. They can never ever tell you what an alcoholic is. They do not have the proper definition of what an alcoholic is. Even although they have been supposedly brought through steps. And if you don't get step one right, it's highly unlikely you're going to get the rest of them right, you know? So you end up relapsing after 2 weeks, and that takes you back into the scene again. And the scene takes you other places.
Some dark houses, places,
Company.
individual company that I can possibly tell you. I mean, it got that bad in that homeless shelter that they actually let me drink on the premises. You know, and it was every day. It was non-stop. And then you were sleeping on the streets, and you're getting into a lot of trouble. You know, a lot of public orders and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know.
So you end up in the court system, you end
Yeah.
up in the mental health system, you end up in the A&Es, you end up in all of the resources that are available for people that are in that sort of thing. You end up having to use them because of addiction. So, right, so we're at the stage, the final stage for us, if you like, is you were not getting the help that you were looking for, even although you were asking for it. You were not getting the help that you needed to get. Now, some people would say, well, he got to a rehabilitation unit, he should have been okay then.
No.
But they don't, people don't understand, getting to a rehabilitation unit, mostly, a lot of people initially don't want to go to rehabilitation units. They're going there because they're either sent there, the wife sent them, the husband sent them, or the court sent them, or their job sent them. So they're going there under false pretenses, and they don't seem to realise that. So a lot of them, I'd say a high percentage of them, won't get the message that's there.
No.
So you can't really blame the rehabilitation unit, because a rehabilitation unit, for all intents and purposes, is a bubble.
That's exactly what it is.
And everybody can stay sober in a bubble.
It's very easy.
Right. It's when you come out to reality.
You know, when you come outside them gates,
Yeah.
that's...
And you're no prepared or geared up to face reality and take reality on, then that's when the crisis really kicks in.
I couldn't manage when I come out of the last treatment centre I was in. I didn't know how to cope.
Yeah.
You know, I was 3.5 months in there, and I'm looking at these fellas bouncing around the place, can't wait to get out, and I'm thinking to myself, not me. Yeah. You know? And I remember coming back into my housing estate, and I was like, this is not good. And I'm not going to say it because I went back to the same environment. You can't blame the environment, you know, for everything. I just didn't learn anything in there. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Learned absolutely nothing. I just went around in a bubble. I probably got 2 sessions a week, meetings. Writing constantly, all day, every day, but just learn nothing, literally. Like, and I don't want to say it too much on a camera, but it was just a complete waste of time.
And that's your understanding.
That's my understanding.
That's your personal.
Yeah.
But I can say that a lot of people that we've sent there have come back and have been successful. So it's the attitude of the individual that either works or it doesn't work. But you've been traumatised for your child, so it's going to take a lot more for you to get to where you are now.
That's when I understood that I was traumatised. I understood that there was something not right, because I spent 3.5 months in a place, and when I come out, I still didn't feel right.
Yeah. So from there you go back to your mum's house, you isolate for 27 days, and then you decide to make a phone call to a friend.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. And tell us a wee bit about that.
I was on my knees in my kitchen in Cranmore, literally on my knees. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I remember hearing about this place being done up, and I rang Winnie, my friend, and I said it to her about the way I was, the way my mental health was, the way I was physically and mentally, and I said I need something, and that was like a call into me, you know, to make that phone call in the state that I was in, without any medication, you know, and to come up and to get a chance to come up and actually see what was being brought into Sligo here amazed me, but also saved me. And I can't express that enough, like, you know, I really can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done. I don't even know if I'd be here today if I didn't make that phone call.
But the difference with you as you come up and you were willing to participate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was always a grafter.
Yeah.
You know? I was always...
like other ones that have walked through the door, the first thing we said, what can you do? What do you do for a living? What are you doing for a living? And for the alcoholic to be sitting in his own head or her own head is dangerous. Alcoholics and drug addicts and gamblers shouldn't be visiting their own head. It's too dark. Not alone anyway.
No.
Not alone. No. So when you come into the charity social ground force, immediately there's a plan put together for you. Yeah. And it's up to you whether you follow that plan through. Yeah. We're not going to push you, we're not going to harass you or whatever. We're telling you there is a way out. Here's the way out for you. You have to work. You have to do what's right for you. And you took that and you took the bull by the horns. And at that point, I'm kind of smiling here myself. At that point, you were like a cat in a hot tin roof.
I was, yeah. I was. I was.
You were bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, I was.
So you told us you were a painter and decorator. So we bought about 4 gallons of paint, right? We bought you a roller and brushes, and we'll let you go. And for 2 months, you're effing and blind and all it was. You were effing, we could hear you when we were having a cup of tea.
I think some people moved out.
Yeah, the neighbourhood quietened up. But that time, getting rid of all that shit, and you were sharing with people in here. And you came with a 12-step recovery program.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that. And you learned. And at that time, I think you said it yourself, through the process, you learned who your dad was.
Yeah.
I think that was a big positive of all this.
Of course. That you know, I don't blame my father for anything. You know, I remember actually saying to him, this is a big thing for me. I remember I was sitting in the apartment trembling because you wouldn't know at any stage you flip. Whatever. Yeah, he was just one of them individuals, especially with drinking them. I remember asking him the question, I said, why can you not just stop? Please, just stop. And when I was in the active cycle, that's when I kind of realised to myself, I was like, I remember asking my father that question. My mother's asked me the exact same.
Yeah. And you see that point you've just made? That's a crucial and a critical point for family members.
Yeah.
Why can't you just stop?
It's not
It's not just as easy.
No,
and your GP might say, look, drinking isn't suiting you.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely, right? But what can you do for me right now?
Yeah.
That's going to get me over the line.
Yeah.
And family members say that. And you remember your mum saying that.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember my mum saying, you're not going to turn out like your dad, are you?
I actually remember one of my cousins, I was outside Penny's, and they just walked past me and said, you're at it again, are you?
Yeah. Okay, folks, we're taking a moment here just to say to anybody that wants to follow this podcast, if they would be willing to make a donation to Social Ground Force, the link is below. This helps us to maintain the service. As we said before, we don't get any government grants or whatever. It's a completely voluntary organisation. There's no payroll. So any donation is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for your time. Thanks very much. When you walk through these doors, we gave you an activity to try and resolve the mental health issues that were in your head by work. You know, so you're not living in your head. But I think we have to go back a wee bit here to where a lot of this stuff began for you. I think it was the age of 14, 15 or 16 or something.
15.
A GP prescribed you benzodiazepine.
Yeah, diazepam, yeah.
And you didn't understand at the time, and even the chemist had said to you, these are heavily addictive, but as a kid at 15, whatever, you hadn't a clue about what addiction was. No. And you took the benzodiazepine and you were prescribed them. Yeah. And you still were prescribed these things. So we're not going to get into the blame game or whatever, but we're going to talk about the different types of addiction here. We're talking, and you've suffered a lot of it, right? But prescribed drugs are, in many, many cases, just as bad as street drugs or alcohol sold over the counter or whatever.
Yeah, it was bad.
Prescribed drugs can, if they're not used properly, can destroy your life and eventually take your life. Tell me a wee bit about that.
When I first started taking them.
Well, when you were prescribed, your GP prescribed
no, it wasn't a GP. He was a top psychiatrist in the Sligo General Hospital.
Top psychiatrist, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went up to him to see him, and obviously I was obviously in a bad way.
Yeah.
I had to have been for a top specialist, to prescribe a 15-year-old lad diazepam, which I didn't know at the time was probably the most addictive drug on the planet.
Yeah.
When I took that first tablet, I know I actually, as I said, I went down to the chemist down the road, and the woman was like, "I don't suggest you take these." I didn't care. I was shaking. I was traumatized. I was just anything. And when I took that tablet, I was like, this is what I was missing. This is it.
It filled the gap.
It definitely filled the gap, all right, yeah. And at the age of 15, with your brain not fully developed, you know, as a man, you know, when I took that, I mean, the bang I got, you know, like, was unreal. And, you know, at such a young age, to get that bang at that age, only
And then
progress
under them circumstances.
under them circumstances.
Yeah.
Then progressed me into, I was like, I want more of that.
Yeah.
And it just kept on getting prescribed and prescribed and prescribed and prescribed and prescribed to me. And no doctor could take me off it, because once a psychiatrist prescribed you a medication like that, that's it.
Yeah. I think that sometimes happens in prisons as well. Not just the prison system, but GPs sometimes prescribe individuals certain medication for psychosis.
Yeah, like I could give you a prime example of that.
Yeah, when they don't actually suffer psychosis, right? So, and then it's a mucky world.
Yeah.
It's a mucky world. It's a very destructive world, not just for the individuals, but for the families. So you've actually come through hell, really, to get to where you are today, and you have because you were coming into the service every day, and you were working here every day. You painted everywhere here in this building, which we really appreciate. But you ended up with another member's family encouraged you to take a trip to Medjugorje.
That's correct, yeah.
And you wouldn't have been a believer in all this stuff.
No.
But it was a break from your hometown. It was a break to get you.
Yeah.
And you were going with a couple of friends. And your brother actually went with you as well.
It was funny
Tell us a wee bit about that.
That was a very strange, you know, way that it came up, you know, that I actually got to go with my brother. But my brother just rang me one night and he was like, well, obviously through a friend, I met a woman in this cafe.
Yeah.
And I mentioned about, you know, that I'd like to go over there.
Yeah.
And she
That was
asked
Christina.
Christina, that's correct, a lady. And I got the phone call off my brother then to say if we wanted to go. And obviously I jumped on it. But it was something like I felt like I had to do as well. You know, it was something, I was like, this could be very, very good for me, you know, and I could benefit really from it, you know. And it was just something I had in there, you know, the inner thought. And when I went over there, it was life-changing.
Yeah.
Absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
Very hard to explain
on
camera.
The alcoholism is called a spiritual malady.
Yeah.
And the word malady means disease. And I've said this before. The word disease is in two parts, D-I-S-E-A-S-E. This means to be back from, to be away from. So you're spiritually, your spirit was actually it was not at ease with Anthony.
No.
So you were a distance from your spiritual ease. And this journey sort of reconnected you, I believe. You said it yourself.
Yeah.
There were certain things you'd done in that journey, and you were climbing mountains.
Yeah, I
and
climbed
you were praying.
the cross mountain, and I put my father's medal up on the tree up there, and I had severe arthritis in my left leg, you know, and none of that come into it, and you know, I didn't have any pain or anything, you know, but I done the whole trip, and I was very sick going over there too, and it was just the experience that I had over there, the spiritual experience that I had over there was just unbelievable.
So that had a profound effect on you, because you've actually, I mean, I think a lot of people who know you and have known you for the past would say there has been a great change in Anthony in the last. You're here nearly 2 years now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Nearly 2 years you're in the Social Ground Force, and you're a great asset to Social Ground Force, and the change in your life, and I believe your mum is absolutely delighted. She's a different woman.
Yeah.
And even your sister and your brother Michael. You know, you actually done a charity run or a walk. You walked about 35 miles or something.
Yeah, 35 miles we walked from Mary's Means, which was originally founded in Medjugorje. It was to feed the starving children of Medjugorje. So basically, you know, if the parents, you know, brought them into school, they got a bowl of porridge.
Yeah.
And we raised 4,500 doing that walk.
Yeah. Now, in addiction, you would never have dreamt in a million years.
Especially now with what's going on with my father at the minute.
Yeah.
You know, there was that as well too. And I was actually quite proud of myself that I done that.
Of course you would be. Yeah.
And, you know, they even doing my testimony over in the Gluley Hall.
Yeah.
With Father John Keane, there was about 160 to 170 people there.
Yeah.
And he just landed me in it, and I remember looking down and I was like, and he called me out in the microphone, and I was like, I have to do this, and I did.
Yeah. So that's telling you that recovery works.
Yeah, and like I'll be going back there now on the 21st of October, and I'm bringing my mother over there because I know what I experienced out of it, you know, and the connection that me and my brother had over there. I mean, when I was drinking and drugging, my brother used to walk the other side of the street, walk past me. Yeah. And I wouldn't blame him. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I wouldn't blame him. I don't blame him. Yeah. You know? And your relationship with your son is getting stronger. It's getting stronger. On a daily basis. Yeah. And you know how not to be a father. That's the things you're learning here. Because it's the behavioural stuff that you grew up in. That's a negative. You just don't bring that on a kid. No. You can't bring that into a child's life. So, to finish up, Anthony, you know, the difference in your lifestyle is obvious to everybody that sees you. You're starting to go out there and you've actually got a wee car now. Yeah. You've not passed your test yet, but you've got a wee car because you get a chance at it, you get an opportunity at it, and you're going through your theory test, and your ambition now is to get driving so that you can get out and about and attend more meetings and do different things. Of course, maybe even when you get this arthritis thing and this thing with your foot sorted out, maybe get back to some form of employment. Of course, and that's your ambition. Now, the difference between the medical side of this, and I'm not saying this because we're putting a dig in about the medical, the health side of this, is that it's very difficult for certain people to understand exactly how our brain works. It is. Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't understand how my brain worked until you explained it to me. Yeah. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, when I come in here, you sat me down, you explained to me about the obsession of the mind, the enzymes, and it took me a while to get it. Yeah. But I eventually got it. Yeah. And that's what we say is, if the individuals get the proper message and they work on it, then there's a great chance they'll succeed in their recovery. And I think you and Winnie, who done the last podcast, are great examples of what can happen, what can be achieved if and when you start to put this into practice. And I'm delighted for you, I'm delighted for your son, delighted for your mum, the rest of your family, because you put a lot of work, Anthony. Yeah. You painted a lot of walls, sometimes 3 and 4 times, and it's all worked. Yeah. It tells you cannot be sitting in your arse waiting in the world to come to you. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen. And for anybody out there, you cannot. You can't sit at home and expect someone to come knocking on your door and lift you up. Well, they're not going to do that. So if you want recovery, you have to go to it. My personal
opinion for anybody that suffers with alcohol, drugs or gambling is get into the 12-step recovery program. It's the most successful therapy known to mankind, and with that, you get a result like that. Slowly but surely, but it does come, you know. So I'd like to thank you, Anthony. Pleasure speaking to you.
Been a
Thanks
pleasure.
for coming, mate. God bless you.
No problem, Miss Melville.
Right, cheers.